I'm running for office. I've spent 25 years of community service in this community. This year there happened to be an open seat currently on the Kyrene School Board. My term is up in 2016. I had originally decided to wait until then, but when an open seat opened up, I decided to run now.
As an engineer in aerospace and defense industry, my industry is leaving the state. And when we moved here in the late 80s, Motorola was the biggest employer in the state, and now it's the state of Arizona. And I want to work in economic development and commerce to reverse that trend.
Well, I'm largely running because there's an open seat. I had thought about it several times before, but I was very happy with our representation in District 18. But when that changed to have an open seat, I said I should get in and try to take care of that. Like Jill, I'm concerned about the economy. I'm a small business owner myself, and I feel that the government has far too much regulation, reporting requirements, and even taxes that impede small business and large business, but mostly small business, and hinder the creation of jobs. In my own experience, I've spent an inordinate amount of time just trying to find out what are all the rules, regulations, reporting requirements, and even taxes that apply to me. And I would call government offices, and after being on hold for an internal amount of time, I would eventually get someone who would say, I don't know. Or occasionally I'd get someone who would tell me an answer, but would always qualify that answer by saying, but don't depend on what I told you. We need to have a focus, a central point where all the information is available, it's reliable, easily accessible, and businessmen then can focus on their business and creating jobs. The other thing is education. I'm an educator. I taught computer engineering for 30 years at ASU. We need to improve our education. Our children are growing up to compete in a global economy, and they can't compete if we don't give them better education. We can give them better education. We need to give them better education. So those are things that I want to do.
Well, everybody's running for the open seat. I really appreciate that. As you're aware, I currently sit in the legislature. And, you know, over the years, you try to figure out how do you really condense that question. You know, why are you running? And for the most part, I think I've got it down somewhat after all these years. And that's really to be part of the solutions to the complex problems that are facing our state. And in many cases, these are enormous problems. You're in the newspaper business, and the people that are currently running recognizing at a regular rate that we're starting to pile up some of these problems at an alarming rate. And that's all due to our financial problems in the state. And I served on the city council for 8 years in Chandler, and it was the fastest growing community in the United States during that period of time. I'm proud of what we were able to accomplish in being able to create jobs, job creation with respect to Intel. And at that time we had Motorola, we had the Iridium project, we had microchip. We had probably about $8 billion in high-tech assets when I left the city, and continue to promote jobs in that region. If you were watching during this whole period of time, downtime, Chandler was probably one of the largest job creators in the country, and I think a lot of that has to do with obviously at the local level, the city councils, but also the representation. You know, when I travel or have an opportunity to meet with corporate executives, I'm always putting out that region of the community because I represent it, but I'm putting out the state overall. Education was touched on just briefly, but education is an enormous engine with respect to the state's economy. We've got to get K-12 back in the direction it needs to go. And I focused over the years on the university system because everybody likes to deal with the little kids, and I always said, where do they go? You know, when they're done, we want to keep them in state. I don't want to. You know, my kids didn't leave the state to and shouldn't have to leave the state. They should have a quality education. And when you have quality education, you get quality jobs, you get quality businesses, you get equality in the economy. So wrap it all up, I guess I want to be part of the solutions to the complex problems and continue to drive in that direction.